All right. Does it say recording?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna let everybody in right now. Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our HeatSmart webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Anna Pertel, and I'm the Sustainability Coordinator for the Network for a Sustainable Tomorrow. So today we're going to talk about the various types of clean heating and cooling technologies and how you might get involved in our HeatSmart program. So welcome. I'm glad everybody could be here. I'm joined today by two of our Energy Corps interns, Eve Marks and Jeremy Jordan, as well as a few of our installer partners, Jess from the Installation Man, Kevin from NP Environmental, and Dave from AirSource LLC, and also Allison from the Chenango County Planning Department. So I'll allow them to introduce themselves a little bit later in the presentation. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll be able to answer them at the end during the Q&A. All right, so to give a bit of background on who we are, the Network for a Sustainable Tomorrow is a nonprofit located in Binghamton that works with community partners to generate social, environmental, and economic well-being in the greater Binghamton area. And HeatSmart is just one of our programs that we have. So overall, our goal is to do a lot of outreach and education about a variety of environmental initiatives, including, as you can see on the side on the right here, we have our Southern Tier Solar Works program, Binghamton Community Power, and the Southern Door Community Land Trust. But the one we're going to be focusing on today is HeatSmart Southern Tier. Here's a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about. We're going to discuss what is HeatSmart Southern Tier, why you might be interested in getting involved with this program, the various HeatSmart technologies that we promote, including weatherization and home energy assessments, as well as the heat pump technologies, the incentives and financing available for these projects, the steps you might take to participate. And then in addition, we're going to be introducing our exciting new community solar project for people that would be interested in that. And then finally, at the end, we'll have a Q&A. So what is HeatSmart Southern Tier? HeatSmart Southern Tier is one of many HeatSmart programs across the state, as you can see in the map. So HeatSmart Southern Tier specifically works in the counties of Broome, Chenango, Delaware, and Tioga. And we are funded by NYSERDA, which is the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. And our job with HeatSmart is basically to provide education and outreach to Southern Tier residents about the environmental, financial, and community benefits of clean heating and cooling, and connect people with the qualified experts that can help them with their own home. And we do this through events like this, so webinars as well as in-person events, and we also do tabling. So why is this work important? Well, as you can see in the graphic, buildings are a main source of greenhouse gases, contributing to 30% of the state's emissions. And heating and cooling contributes a lot to that. And buildings are second only to transportation, which is at 36%. So through our HeatSmart program, our hope is to contribute to a decrease in this very large chunk of greenhouse gas emissions, which can hopefully lower the effects of climate change. There are many benefits to participating in the HeatSmart Southern Tier program. There are individual benefits for you, like you can reduce your energy costs over time, as well as improve your home comfort and safety by making these improvements on your home. And there's also the community and global benefits. So like I just mentioned, reducing your greenhouse gas emissions, and it also improves community awareness of these energy issues and how buildings contribute to climate change. In addition, you can earn grant funds for your community through the Clean Energy Communities program, which I will elaborate on right now. So here at Nest, we've been working with a bunch of different municipalities on their Clean Energy Communities programs. So this is a program run by NYSERDA, which is the organization I mentioned before. And the goal of this program is to encourage municipalities to take more green actions. So communities can earn points by doing things like motivating their residents to make energy improvements on their homes, like weatherization and heat pumps. And then these points accumulate, and allows the municipalities to qualify for extra grant funds. So by signing up for this HeatSmart program, you could be helping Chenango County and or the city of Norwich, depending on where you live, earn these extra funds. And if you do not live in one of these places, we can let you know if there is a Clean Energy Communities program in your area. So our program covers a few different types of technologies, including weatherization, and then 3 different types of heat pumps. So the ground source, air source, and heat pump water heaters, which we will talk a little bit about in a second. Our program works with competitively selected partners that we know and trust will do a great job on these installations. So for air source heat pumps, we work with Air Source LLC, NP Environmental, and Rycor. For ground source heat pumps, we work with Daily Geothermal and NP Environmental. And for home performance, we work with the Insulation Man. And like I said before, we have a few of our partners here today that will be able to talk about their companies and what they do and answer any questions that you have. So now I'm going to hand it over to Eve to talk about the different technologies.
So the first step, if you were to go through our HeatSmart program, is weatherization. And this is the practice of protecting a building and its interior from the elements and modifying a building to reduce energy consumption while optimizing energy efficiency. So if you were to get a heat pump, it's really important to ensure that your home is properly insulated first, because a heat pump or really any form of heating won't work as well if your home is not properly insulated. So there are many benefits of weatherization, such as increasing home safety, as well as improving home comfort. So if your home is properly weatherized, it will reduce drafts, improve humidity control, improve indoor air quality, as well as reduce risk of ice dams. And possibly more importantly, weatherization will help reduce energy consumption as well as costs. So with a tightly sealed home, there's a lower chance that any heat will leak out of your home and that unwanted cool air will infiltrate your home. So overall, weatherization makes your home more comfortable to live in and more energy efficient. So as you can see in this diagram, these are common sources of air leaks. So as you can see, hot air usually leaks out of the attics and vents, and cold air comes in through your basement. So now we'll move on to heat pump technology. So heat pumps are an alternative system for heating and cooling your home. So while traditional systems use fossil fuels, heat pumps use electricity and offer a more sustainable way to heat and cool your home. So you might be wondering, what is a heat pump and how it works? So this graphic provides a visual of how air flows through this type of system. And if you have a refrigerator or an air conditioner, you already have this type of technology in your home. So there's heat all around us in the air and in the ground, even in the winter. And heat pumps transfer this heat into a space or out of a space instead of burning fossil fuel to produce heat. So there are 3 types of heat pumps that we'll cover tonight: ground source, air source, and water heaters. So ground source heat pumps, as well as heat pump water heaters, can be used to heat domestic hot water. So ground source heat pumps are also known as geothermal. So about 6 feet below the ground is a very stable temperature. So geothermal systems circulate fluid in pipes below the ground, and this transfers the warm energy from the ground into this fluid. So this heat is then concentrated through electricity and compression, and then circulated throughout your home. So during the warmer months, it works in reverse and transfers the warm air in your home back into the ground. So as you can see, there are 2 different types of closed loop ground source heat pumps. There are horizontal loops and vertical loops, with horizontal loops being more common as it's more affordable to install. This is because the coils are closer to the surface and requires less digging because of that. And in order to know what is best for you and your home, it's important to get an energy assessment first. So there are many benefits of ground source heat pumps, including the positive effect on the environment, your energy bill, and your home. So this system is very efficient in heating and cooling your home, which means lower energy bills. It is long lasting, it removes fossil fuels from your home, and it can heat water in addition to heating your home. So the other type of heat pumps are air source heat pumps, which work similarly to ground source, but they take heat from the air and pump it into your home. So these are typically a ductless system and do not require underground pipes like the ground source heat pump. This allows for easy and quick installation. Air source systems consist of one outdoor unit, which is linked to one or more units inside your home. So these units come in various types, as you can see above, to fit different aesthetics and cost preferences. So they operate similarly to an air conditioning unit. However, they also run in reverse to provide heat. So similar to ground source heat pumps, air source heat pumps allow for energy savings. Air source heat pumps are also very flexible because you don't have to replace your entire heating system if you don't want to. And this allows for zone control in your home. You can get just one or two heat pumps and use them for just a couple rooms, or you can get it for your whole house. So this allows you to have air conditioning without ductwork and to maintain different temperatures in different rooms. So you have more control over the temperature in your home. As I said, you can also get a full heating replacement if you would like, but it's not necessary. And lastly, they're also very quiet, which is a great benefit. So the last technology that we will cover tonight is heat pump. So the heat pump technology that we have been discussing can also be used to heat water heaters are basically an electric water heater with an air source heat pump on top. So they use indoor air to heat the water and usually have a backup system to meet high demands. So similarly to heat pumps, the main benefit of using this kind of system is higher efficiency. Excuse me. So while a typical electric water heater uses electricity to heat the water, a heat pump water heater uses the hot air that's already around the unit to heat the water. This reduces the amount of electricity that is needed to produce that heat. So heat pump water heaters also provide dehumidification benefits, which is definitely another plus. So now I'll pass it to Jeremy to talk about incentives and financing.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jeremy, and in this part of the presentation, I'll be going over the incentives and financing options that are available to you when you're starting a HeatSmart project. So in this section, we'll be showing you a few different tables like this one, which have a ton of information, but I just wanted to mention that we'll be sharing these slides after the presentation, so don't worry about trying to memorize them as we go along. NYSEG and RGE customers are offered a variety of residential incentives to make heat pumps more affordable. As you can see, this is a pretty big table, but there are various types of rebates available per each type of technology, and the rebates are based per unit or per heating capacity. For air and ground source heat pumps, incentives can range from the low thousands to as much as $10,000 depending on the system. For water heaters, depending on the type you use, it can range from $100 to $1,000. And some relevant information to understand is that the incentives generally vary based on the size of your home and the size of your project. There are also tax credits available to you in addition to the previously mentioned rebates. Thanks to the recent passing of the Inflation Reduction Act, the federal tax credit for ground source heat pumps was increased from 26% to 30%, and the $300 air source heat pump federal tax credit was restored. There's also a $300 tax credit for heat pump water heaters. And in addition to that, New York State recently implemented a new tax credit for ground source heat pumps of 25% up to $5,000 of installation costs. There are also many financing options when it comes to these projects. NYSERDA offers 3 different loan options. The first is a smart energy loan, which you are qualified for up to $25,000 in terms of 5, 10, or 15 years with an interest rate of 3.49 or 6.99%. Another option is the on-bill recovery loan, which has the same conditions as a smart energy loan, except it's paid on your utility bill over time. Lastly, there's the companion loan of up to $25,000 in terms of 5, 10, or 15 years under 6.99% interest. And this loan can be added on to one of the previous 2 loans if you need extra funding or if you have a larger project. A couple of other options could be financing through a specific heat pump manufacturer or securing a loan through your local bank if you could get more competitive interest rates. I should also mention that the interest rates are offered are dependent on your income. and people with lower income will be able to receive lower interest rates. Our installer partners also have zero interest loans on a time limited period, which they'll be able to tell you more about as you move forward with the process. In terms of income eligible programs through Energy Star, there are performance and heat pump incentives. This provides those who meet the income requirements as seen in the table with a discount of 50% off of project costs. The discount goes up to $5,000 for single family homes and $10,000 for 2 to 4 multifamily homes. Through Empower New York, there are certain income eligible incentives as well. These incentives are available to homeowners under 60% of the state median, which is shown in the table on the right, that also pay their utility bills. If you are going to be HEAP eligible, you can get up to $20,000 off of full project costs, while non-HEAP eligible projects can still get up to $10,000 off. And these all include heat pumps. In terms of home energy audit incentives, a residential energy audit from an installer is free, although this does not include any diagnostic testing or tools. A full energy audit, on the other hand, does include diagnostics, but market rate customers must pay a fee for this service. Low to moderate income customers can get this service for free under the conditions that they fill out a joint application with an installer and have an energy efficiency or heat pump project completed. So if you're interested in anything that was discussed in this webinar, including weatherization or heat pumps, here's the process you're going to take to get started. First, you would sign up for a home energy assessment and/or site assessment from one of our installers. Then you would receive a quote for energy improvement, and after that, you would sign a contract for the desired systems you would like, and then you would apply for the incentives and financing, and finally, you would complete the installation work. To sign up for site assessments, you can visit us at our website, nynest.org, and fill out a form telling us what you are looking for, and that'll get the process started. And I should also mention that we're happy to sign up anyone tonight if they'd like to get started, and I want to stress that there's no commitment required with this process. And now I'll be handing it back to Anna to talk to you guys about our new community solar project.
All right, thanks, Jeremy. So like I said at the beginning, Nest does other programs besides HeatSmart, so we just wanted to tell everybody about a new project that we have that you might be interested in. This is our new community solar project, which is not built yet, but is going to be built in the town of Dickinson. So I'm sure you're all familiar with what solar technology is in general, but community solar allows people to get their power from solar without actually having to install solar panels on their own homes, which a lot of people can't do because either their home is too shady, or they can't afford the upfront cost, or they don't own their own home. There's many barriers to actually getting solar panels installed on your home. So this is an opportunity for people to get their power from solar without having to do that. How it works is you subscribe to a solar farm that is located somewhere far away in on a solar field. So this particular project that we are working on is in the town of Dickinson, like I mentioned before, but anyone in the Southern Tier area can subscribe, and there's no fees to join or leave, and it allows you to receive an automatic 20% annual savings on your NYSEG bill. Another benefit is that it's going to produce a lot of new renewable electricity and green jobs. This is an income eligible program, so you do have to meet the income requirements that you can see on the right side of the slide. So just to be aware of that. But right now we are just taking pre-enrollments, which means that there is absolutely no commitment. We're just basically getting a list of names of people who are interested and their contact information. And then in a few months, you would hear from a contractor and they would say, hey, are you still interested in this? Would you like to actually sign up? And at that point, you could decide whether you actually wanted to commit to it and sign up. So this is likely going to go into effect, I believe, about a year from now, or like mid 2023. I believe it's like summer 2023. So you wouldn't see this change right now, but you would see the changes on your bill at that point. So if you're interested in this, in order to sign up, you can go to the solar page on our website, which one of my colleagues will put in the chat. And you can just fill out the form that says you're interested, and that'll also put in your contact info, and then we will put your name on the list, and you'll be on the list, and then you won't have to think about it for a while. So yeah, that is our new community solar project. Just to reiterate, there's no fees to join or leave, and it gets you an automatic 20% savings on your NYSEG bill, which I think it sounds too good to be true, but that is the reality. And also, you do have to be income eligible, and you also have to pay your own NYSEG bill. So those are the two requirements for this project. So if you have any other questions, feel free to ask those during the Q&A about this. All right, before we get into questions, I just want to allow our installer partners to tell us a little bit about themselves and their business, if you guys wanted to ask questions about that. So now I will hand it over to, I guess we can start with Jess from the Installation Man, if that's okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jess, and I work over at the Installation Man. We are a woman-owned business, and we have been in business since 1989. We became a woman-owned business when my boss bought the company back in 2015. We help with the weatherization side of the process and doing the energy assessments. We also help with navigating through the incentives and available financing. The administrative process is a lot of what I do, and I'm here to answer any questions. Here to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Great, thanks, Jess. All right, I will now hand it over to, let's go with Kevin from NP Environmental.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kevin with NP Environmental. My position with that company is a field engineer, which there's two of us over there, myself and Nick. What that means is we're the ones that would come out, provide an assessment for a heat pump, analyze any existing distribution, whether it be radiant ductwork, help to calculate the heat load of the house and size the system, and work with you to perhaps solve some problems or create some solutions to improve not only your current setup, but also transition to a more efficient heat pump. And then we work with you through the process of contracting, designing, and carrying out the installation. NP Environmental, we're based out of Waterville, just south of Utica. We cover a 2-hour radius from there, and we do everything: heat pumps, geothermal, air source heat pumps, and heat pump water heaters. And we've been doing those since 2004. And so, yeah, that's NP Environmental. That's me. I look forward to talking with some of you in the future, and happy to answer any questions tonight.
Thanks, Kevin. Let's pass it over to Dave from Air Source LLC.
Hey, folks. My company is Air Source LLC. We're based here in Greene. We specialize really specifically in air source heat pump technology. We've been, probably 12 years, I think now. I've done a lot of work in the county. I'm a native of the county. We do work in Norwich. We did actually an apartment complex there, Peacock Park Manor down there on Brown Street, where we retrofitted the entire building with air source heat pumps, which it was an electric resistance application. So there's a lot of misnomers about air source heat pumps, their ability to function, to carry a load on a house, by themselves without backup. There's multiple styles of distribution. It's not just things on the wall. There's units that can be ducted, that can be tied into existing ductwork, which is sometimes a good solution. There's ceiling cassettes, there's low wall units. So we specialize in applying that technology because it's so versatile to all different types of buildings, from early 19th century buildings all the way to brand new high efficiency, SIPS houses or ICF structures, or, you name it. And we work in those types of buildings, and we do a lot of, we're roughing in a job over in Norwich tomorrow, which is a gut rehab type project where, customer guts the house and re-insulates, with high efficiency insulation systems and so on and so forth. So we do new construction. We just did a new house up on Aurora Heights. So we're very wired into Chenango County. Of course, we do about an hour radius from Greene. And we really specialize in the design aspect. We don't paint with one broad brush. I mean, basically every house, every customer is unique. Everybody has different priorities. Obviously performance, design is first, but there are many different variables when it comes into designing a system. And that's one of our strengths really is our experience, extensive experience designing and heat load calcs and adjusted capacities, and understanding what it takes to heat a house with an air source heat pump with no backup when it's 15 below zero outside. So that's a little bit about us, but certainly we're here anytime you want to call. If you fill out your best bet is really to get a hold of us and to schedule something, if you're serious, is just call me. My number is there and I can give it to you. And you can contact me directly. You can go through Nest. Some people check I'm not big on calling people. Sometimes I call, they don't really know what they're checking for. They just have a few questions. Just, any of that stuff. I'm just better. I'll pick up the phone and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions and set up something. It's a much more efficient, direct way to make it happen. And I'm willing, you can call me anytime. So that's it. I'll pass it on to the next person for now.
Thanks, Dave. All right, now that we've gone through all our installers, I'm going to pass it on to Allison from the Chenango County Planning Department. They've been working with us a lot on our clean energy, on their clean energy communities program. So Allison, go ahead.
Hi guys, my name is Allison Yakino. I am the Clean Energy Communities Coordinator for Chenango County. So basically what we're doing is we're completing this program to obtain enough points to get some grant funding for the county. So this program right here is the Clean Heating and Cooling Campaign. We get 15 signups and completions in the county. We get a $15,000 grant, and that goes to any clean energy upgrade in Chenango County. So that can be, some solar panels, some car chargers, or LED lighting upgrades around the county. So if we get those signups, we'll get that grant. So it's one of the main reasons that we're doing this, but we're happy to be here.
Great, thanks for giving those specifics, Allison. All right, so now that we've gotten through the whole presentation, I'm gonna go back in the chat and look at the questions that we haven't already answered. So one that I see is from Kevin. He says, what is the sealed program and does it work with Nest? So I believe you're talking about there's a NYSEG program where you can get rebates for home energy upgrades. And personally, I'm not up to date on that. I'm not super familiar with that. I don't know if any of the installers are, if you'd want to speak to
I don't think
They
that's
can help with
Sealed is
that.
Sealed is my understanding of Sealed is it's just a third party that basically sells heat pump jobs and then will contract out to a contractor to do the work. And the contractor doesn't have to go out and sell the job. Sealed has already done that. So just basically they're trying to streamline, take the contractor out of the sales picture, and that's kind of what they're doing. That's my understanding of the Sealed program. I think it just probably inflates the cost and prevents people from really getting in touch with who's actually doing the work. So I'm not really a fan of it, if that's an accurate picture of what that's all about.
We actually do work with Sealed. They are an outside, basically they're a loan servicer. They provide funding for projects, and then the the loan amount is paid back through the savings on the NICEAG bill. So they are a legitimate program. We do actually do a lot of work with them. And, for customers who may not, want to go through their bank or, may not know how to work with the contractors directly, sealed can be a good bridge for that.
Okay, thanks guys for the clarification.
Thanks, Jess. We'll talk more about that sometime.
And then the next question is also from Kevin about what is the backlog on installation for all three firms? That is a great question. Whoever wants to start can go.
I guess I'll start with that. So right now, energy assessments, I'm booking into late January. As far as installs, it would be springtime right now. Usually, 4 to 5 months is a pretty safe bet. So especially depending on if there's parts of the job that are outside, at this time of the year, they are weather sensitive and some parts may have to be, just delayed until the weather breaks. So it all depends on the job, the size of the job, and the different components of it.
I'll jump in for NP. We would be roughly 2 to 4 weeks out for a heat pump water heater. Air source heat pumps right now, we most likely would be able to make something happen in March. Geothermal, it's a bit more of a complex answer, but I wouldn't hesitate if it's something you'd like to have by next winter. That schedule is starting to be a little more shored up. It's shortening, but it is stretched out pretty far right now. So yeah, definitely wouldn't delay if it's something you're looking to have by next winter.
Yeah, our air source schedule is, we're pretty busy. We've had quite a backlog, but we're working through it. We do work all winter long. We're probably, into spring at this point. So, I would say probably a new install, March, April. We do actually make some exceptions for folks with no heat. We have a little bit of flexibility. We can move things around when we get into a certain situation, which we do does happen here from time to time, where we have to help somebody out. So, but for the most part, yeah, we're booked out into the spring.
And I also would want to ask, if I was a customer, is this like a typical kind of timeline for all installers, would you guys say? Like, even if they tried to find somebody else, do you know if it would be different?
I know that for installation, there are many, many companies right now that are booking out farther than we are. As far as the installation man goes, this is pretty normal. About a 4-month timeline from the time we first have contact with you until the work is done. So, like I said, it all depends on it, for the last couple of years, this is our normal.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard, is that that's pretty typical for pretty much everybody right now, because of the high demand and low supply. Ed says, I currently have an air source heat pump system and you're interested in an upgrade. Do you mean to another air source heat pump, Ed? Did you want to elaborate on that? You can feel free to unmute as well if you'd like. Or type.
Yes. I have a Lennox. Is it Lennox? Well, Anyway, it's 10 years old. It's a full house heat. It works with the furnace, but when it goes below 30 degrees, it's useless. It doesn't do much for us at that point. So we're looking for a unit that's going to, work right through 10-degree weather. This one does not do it right now. It's Lennox. I'm sure it's Lennox that we have right now, but it's about 10 years old. It does the entire house. So how do I go about that? Can I, basically I want to replace the heat pump. Is that what it comes down to?
Yeah, I'll let one of the installers speak on that. Dave or Kevin?
Yeah, what you have is just a conventional heat pump, like they have down south. Not don't bring a whole lot of value, up in this climate. Like you said, below 30 degrees doesn't do a whole lot. So, obviously what we specialize in are low ambient, high performance heat pumps, inverter driven. They're just much more efficient, and will still give you 100% capacity down, even below zero. For the ductless stuff, the ducted is a little bit different, but it's still high performance, very high performance stuff. The difference is cost. You're that standard, conventional style heat pump that you have is, it's just not the same piece of hardware. So the cost is very different. You might have paid $3,500 for that back then. The costs on these systems are obviously much higher. The value is that, especially if you're burning a delivered fuel, the payback is there. If you're on natural gas, you're not going to have the same fast payback. Even gas prices, I guess, have risen some, but there's not a huge payback if you're burning gas. Most of our customers that convert from gas are converting for sustainability purposes, not necessarily for savings. And we have to be very clear with them that don't expect a huge cost savings. But if you're burning oil or propane right now, you can really leverage that. And I'll pass it on to Kevin at NP if he wants to add anything to that.
Overall, Dave, you pretty much said it all. It sounds like you have a standard heat pump and you'd need to upgrade to a cold climate model. What we would offer would probably replace not only the heat pump, but the furnace as well. It would be a 2-in-1 unit to set in your ductwork, do the heating down to the temperatures we see here, year-round heating, as well as cooling in the summertime. Just like Dave said, depending on what fuel you have, you could either see major savings from that, or if nothing else, you'd at least have a cleaner system, an energy efficient, climate friendly system, no potential for fumes or gas in your house. A lot of other benefits, but yeah, against oil or propane, the savings are certainly there as well. So you have some options there.
Yeah, I am natural gas, and the heat pump and the furnace work well together. Once the heat pump can't keep up, the furnace kicks right in, and we feel the difference immediately. So it's pretty integrated, and it works well. But our concern is that below 30 degrees, the heat pump is struggling. But we can feel the furnace kicking in almost immediately. So but we would prefer to have the heat pump do most of the work. Below 30.
Yeah, that's definitely something you can do. Mitsubishi has a product now. It's basically an A coil that integrates with the furnace, and you can set it up so that the heat pump can run down to 5 degrees, and then the furnace will take over then. Which with your natural gas, you're certainly not saving any money when you get down into the single digits. You're not saving money over natural gas with a heat pump, and saves wear and tear on the mechanicals a little bit. And but it's definitely doable. The A coil is designed to go over a gas furnace. Like I said, it does have an integration, a box built right into it that basically kind of seamlessly ties the two systems together, and so on and so forth. So that's an option for you. But again, it's not there's a lot of benefits to it, but it's not inexpensive by any stretch. So it's certainly a commitment. But that's what it is. Those are your options. For that's probably it's probably your best option. The ductwork does need to be assessed. A lot of times it's undersized, it's not sealed, it's not insulated, and a lot of those things make a difference. A heat pump, your supply temperatures, it's going to be a little bit lower air temperature than coming out than, especially if you had an oil furnace. But at any rate, yeah. So there's just from a design and an installation execution standpoint, there are definitely some details that need to be paid attention to. But it's certainly something that that's doable if it's something you wanted to commit to.
Yeah, thank you for the information and the question.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very cool that you already have a heat pump, and I was just wondering if you would feel comfortable like telling us why you decided to get a heat pump in the first place. I thought that might be interesting for other people to hear. So you can unmute or put it in the chat.
We spent time in Arizona and we saw heat pumps out there, and how Arizona's weather doesn't get as cold as here, but we did like the fact the air conditioning and the heating was all where the heat pump just took care of all. Before that, we had a separate air conditioning system, we had a separate furnace, and we had to figure out, from Arizona, I can make changes to the system when I'm out there. So the heat pump was just much more flexible for us, and that's why we got it. And we did flood in Owego. I live in Owego, and we lost the furnace at that time. So we said, let's just go with a new heat pump and the whole 9 yards. So that was part of it as well. But we like the heat pump. We like it a lot. We just wish that it could do a little bit more for us when it gets below 30.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I definitely want to reiterate like what Dave was saying about making sure that it's like the right type of heat pump. Like the cold climate air source heat pumps are very different than the ones that we find in like Arizona or warmer places. So that is why it's really important. That's why we are trying to do this sort of education and connecting people with the installers who will definitely put in the right equipment. So yeah, thanks for sharing. I'm also going to put in the chat right now the sign up form that we have for HeatSmart. So this is just on our website. If you'd like to be connected with an installer, this is technically like the sign up form, but you're really not committing to anything. If you fill this out, you're just saying, hey, my name is blah, 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 and I would like to talk to an installer about this. So if you fill that out, then we'll get in touch with you and connect you with the appropriate installer. So feel free to do that now. Are there any other questions at this point? Feel free to unmute or put them in the chat. Kevin or Dave or Jess, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add. All right. Well, if not, then I need to find our event evaluation form. And I'm just going to put that in the chat, and it would be really helpful for us if you filled this out so that we could learn how to improve our HeatSmart events and how we can make them better for everybody's needs. So give me 1 second and I'll put that in the chat, the link to that. All right. If you could just fill out the event evaluation form, that would be super helpful. All right, last call for questions, or else we can just call it. All right, well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Thank you to all our installer partners for giving their time to us. Thanks for all your questions. I hope you learned a lot. If you'd like to get in touch with us, I'll put our email in the chat. It's info@nynest.org, and our website is nynest.org. And you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter if you just search Network for a Sustainable Tomorrow. So feel free to contact us at any point. Our phone number is also on our website if you'd prefer to call during our normal business hours. So we'd love to hear from you all soon. I hope you all have a great rest of your Thursday night. Thanks for coming. Bye, everyone.